Cheers to you. It's a good day. So I'm going to wait a few minutes before I start chatting away about why things are happening the way they are for people. There seems to be a lot of sickness that seems to be going on. And it's important to understand. So cheers to you all to understanding how we create our reality. Why is it we get sick out of the blue? There is a great movie that I highly, highly suggest. It's on Netflix, and it's all of the teachers that I've studied from, not personally, but studied from and have really gone in depth about the brain. And it's called Heal, H-E-A-L, Heal. It's on Netflix. I haven't watched it completely yet, but I have devoted my life to getting information and to helping those that really need to feel better. And it's not just about your daily life, but your physical health. Now, this is a disclaimer for entertainment purposes only, for the safety of how the government is helping others. And, we're just the light workers that come on and tell you what we've experienced. So it's just entertainment purposes only. But there is a lot of different things that you physically can do that can work with your GP, that can work with having a better life. And I was told I wasn't supposed to do tonight's show. So hello, everybody. I'm not supposed to do tonight's show, but I was supposed to do it now. And I couldn't understand why until two of my lovely people that I have met through here don't feel well. And all of a sudden, Spirit goes, "Oh, can we come through? Can we come through?" And I'm like, "Oh, wow, okay, yeah. If they're there, sure, we'll." And then they go, "There's replay. There's replay. Okay, yeah." So this is a spontaneous, and I know that I'm supposed to become more spontaneous about everything. Now, Lenny is here. Thank you. Now she's. I'm not sure if she's feeling any well or not. I know that some people out there are just not. But let me explain. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to bring the spirits through. And you're talking about head honchos, angels and higher up. And there is planes and dimensions and frequencies and things that we can't explain. And this is Earth School. We are affected by the cosmos. We're affected by dimensions. We are affected by energies and frequencies. So basically, when it comes to time to heal, you need to understand how you are attached. The more that you're soulfully allowing yourself, and I said soulfully, that is all of your soul's lives. Now, if my eyes shut from time to time, it's because they really want me to just look at several different things at once. Now, we can micromanage, and it looks like we can multitask, but I'm going to be going in just enough that I can see several things at once as my mouth is rambling. If that makes sense. Some beautiful fan says, what I like is the fact is that you're helping people to address their physical issues without drugs. And that is absolutely true. Because it's important not to mask the symptoms. And how we look and view life through everything our soul's gone through the bloodline of our family. As we go through, we have to understand all of the things that your family hasn't been able to resolve does get passed on to you. It's not about blaming anybody. Please get out of the effect side of the cause. The cause and effect equation is very simple. You are an observer. You're observing. And as you observe, you can be and emotionally attached. You can get pictures, sounds, feeling. And we have not been able to, release. Dr. Scalar would talk about how the polar bear and the wild animals, before we became domesticated, our nervous system and everything else would, oh my God, fight, flee. And then all of a sudden it would leave the body. And the polar bear, they had taken video shots of how the the bear would end up shaking out the traumatic experience and then go back to life. But we are consciousness. We have, and everything's conscious, but we have the ability to focus. And the thing is that we start off very young of taking it personal. And that's because our chakras are opening. And as they begin to open at a higher dimension, you're going to take the emotions that you're attached to, instead of it being able to resolve, to evolve, you are putting them in the body, you're staying attached, and it becomes more dense and it stays longer. But it's not that there's nothing you can do about it. There's so many things you can do about it. So many things. And the one person here has paid for a session, and I believe it just went into my old USA account, and I was trying to verify that just before I came on, but I will verify that again, and we'll see what happens, okay? So the new energy that's coming in is affecting the digestive system. One thing that you have to understand is that your energy, okay? And the frequencies need to ebb and flow. New higher chakras are coming in. So if you can imagine that you have a zero chakra that is connected to the earth in your core, and then it comes up to the first, second, third, fourth, your fourth, your fifth, your sixth, and your seventh, okay? But then now you have 8 that's learning to come down into the zero position, and then the root is 9, and the second is 10, and they so you have, 11 is the solar, 12, 12, 13, 14, 15. Without, the point is that they slide down. Now, as they are coming in, your kundalini, the energy of your kundalini, the left, right, the yin and yang that is going in through our system, sometimes will get stuck in certain chakra areas. And what am I doing? I'm not just doing hand moments, because I want all of you to decide if you want to start receiving this healing that is starting to build up, and to go out and to meet up all of the souls that want this. You can join in. Even after the show, every time you watch it, you can join in, okay? You just have to sit back and receive. You have intentionally just to feel it. The hardest part is when people start feeling, oh, it feels like I got touched. It's not something scary. It is the energy coming through, and you're allowing it to help. Now, if it gets stuck and it hurts, or you don't feel well, you breathe it through, okay? Another big tip is that you can put your hand on your forehead and breathe it through. Now, when you can't believe, like if there was something floating, okay, in the air, or a magician was doing something, you can't believe your eyes, and so you'll discredit and discontinue the healing because you can't accept it. So all of you that are ready, I'm going to just do the hi, everyone. Okay, so I'm going to just hook up to the reconnection. You can look at Eric Pearl, the reconnection, and understand what it is. If you want to do further, you can look at videos, you can read the book, you can even pay for a session, you can even pay for the reconnection, but you have to come to me for that, the reconnection, because apparently it's only supposed to be done in person. Now, what do you feel to some degree is that your eyes may, when you're really getting tuned with it, your eyes will start darting back and forth, especially if your eyes were closed. Now, what I'm feeling is that there is a lot of, and even if my hands are down, it still continues, and you don't even have to, it's that bandwidth. A lot of people are having problems with the 10th chakra and the second chakra, because your second chakra is about how you relate to others. And our biggest thing is the RTJP, the right temple junction parietal lobe, that helps us think what other people think. We get so caught up in that process, the thought process, that the 41 thoughts per minute end up being about an issue. Instead of resolving your issue, you're creating a new problem. If you feel it enough and you're trying to stop the thinking, but you can't, you will feel it so deep that it becomes an issue in the physical body. Now, one of my, we're just going to take one person that they thought they had food poisoning. I'm just going to go look and see through my little book. Okay, so there. Now I'm tuned into her, and what they said is that she's dehydrated for one. She needs to drink water, but she also needs to have her electrolytes balanced. And once you begin to balance the electrolytes, it'll help the intestines as well as the nauseation. Now, she has a lot of grievances that are encoded, which is a previous, because we're all made of codes, but this means previous. So now I'm going to find out, is this genetic? No, it is this soulful thing. So it's the thing she wrote in her contract, her soul contract. And there are unreal things. Worst case scenario is the first thing that comes up. And yeah, I can feel that one. The worst case scenario. So if you are a type of person that does worst case scenarios, you got to understand that you are increasing the problem. Now, some people say, but I can't make that stop. Yes, you can. There's a lot of things you can do. The first thing is to get the emotions to be under control. You can do an emotional freedom technique. You can use just putting your hand. I mean, right here is an incredible position, but you have to breathe it through. And it's, everything. Now I heard the cosmos energy, the way that everything's beginning to shift. The chakras are opening just a little bit more as the zodiac signs are doing their thing. And the new moon and all that. Yes, Norma, I do remember you. Hi, Norma. One of the incredible things is that because those energies are there, we don't need to know them unless we want an explanation. But when we go into the fight flight, we're trying to make our life make sense, okay? And if we are not connected to that higher self and listening through our heart, what happens is that we can go into the ego state of just panic and fear. And if we do that too many times, we don't even have to consciously participate. Our body will just say, oh, it's that time of day, we're going to do this. Or it's that time of year, it's that. You can't control something. Now, this person has a lot of grievances towards her. No. She's doing the worst case scenario. So I would definitely say that a healing is necessary. Now, if we can't make a session with me, I will tell you that I do teach source point healing. It is a point that in acupuncture, acupressure, whatever you want to call it, in Chinese medicine, the point is these are points that they are called source points. And these points are so important because when you begin to rub these points, it sends energy directly to the organ or the system, and then it starts to shoot around. Now, what's interesting is that the way that our bodies are created, it's created of metal, okay? So it goes water, fire, metal, wood, earth. And the energies spin and communicate and support, or they can destroy, and then they go in and out and around to try to control. Your energies tell me a story. Usually it's the kidney that can help balance it a lot, because the kidney has a lot to do with being in charge. So the last point on the kidney meridian is you follow the collarbone in and drop down into the hole and you rub. Now it's a pretty big spot. Now, if that's sore, you need to keep balancing that. Now, don't rub it until it gets worse. Don't bruise it. But you may have to rub or do this 10 times, 20 times. I'd say 20 times, and then stop a little later, because you need to get that going. Sometimes you just need to do a deep rub there. This flips all of the meridians to go in the direction that they were designed to go. Some go forward, some go backward. That depends on the yin and yang. Not going to get too deep. Just understand you can rub points yourself. So this is a big one. Another big one. And is, I wore a shirt. I meant to do the tighter one. But underneath, right where the bra line is, that rib cage, that rib right there, that rib, okay? You rub both sides, that's spleen 21. And you want both sides of your body because you have spleen that's on your left side. That's an organ. But you have the energy duplicate and then meridians on the other side. But you need those to communicate on each side of the body. But you need that one because that one really helps the immune system, does so much more. It creates a really good building to help you heal. Interesting. Okay, so I will show you the rest of the points. Liv says, you did a cold reading for me about intolerance Tuesday night. I had the worst intolerance signs Wednesday and Thursday. Interesting. Well, you don't have to go through that. You can begin to understand. Excuse me. I'm feeling everybody's upset. If the intolerance is about certain foods, you need to go in order. This is why some people will come to me, and you do the intolerance to certain things with foods. If it is to the environment, I cannot remember what it was to exactly because it may be linked to something else. But your body said it needed to get that rebalanced. Now, and usually if you have a reaction that way, then you go ahead and you begin to notice how your body, this is one thing the body does, is it says you've tolerated it for so long that it's now causes much more things and triggers and cues. And this is why EFT is very important for you. Now, when you have a healing done, okay, there's what's called the herxing. Okay, this is when a healing has gone too fast, or you are resisting it, saying, I'm not quite ready to let it all go. Different energy imprints will go through this. Okay. When it comes to why did she have it worse, is that you have specific wounds that interrupted you to have a healing. It started to balance, and if you can just remind me what it was that was it to food? Okay, so if you're having a Reiki session tonight, you got to understand when you're working with other healing tools, especially if you're going into, from what they're telling me, is that it's like a lawsuit, okay? You have an outcome that you want to learn, outcome that you want. You're going to have to go through so many different little tiny things in order to get that result, okay? It's the way the universe sets it up. And for me, I didn't want my children to get sick. I said, I'm done. I don't want to learn how to do this healing through my children. And so that's when all of a sudden I started to get physically sick. And I was thinking, well, why don't you send me customers? We could do it that way. But I needed to feel it. And I had to communicate with my body. I needed to fine tune it so that when I'm working with other people, I can immediately feel what's going on and then fine tune it so that I can understand. Because I asked, can I be a great healer? And can you help me become that? And you have to be careful what you ask for. So knowing that you have a healing session, a Reiki session tonight, you are meant to find a particular answer and connect those dots. Now, when it comes to, certain healing and you get worse, understand if you're healing too fast, then you just need to balance out your body. This is what the source point healing does, is if you rub certain points. Like my husband would get a headache and he'd be like, oh, I need an aspirin. I need a, what do you call it? Vitamin, whatever, Tylenol or whatever. Okay. Paracetamol, whatever it's called. The point is you need something to take the pain away. And, sometimes it can take up to 40 minutes or it doesn't take care of it at all, or it just is a dull ache. He just says, oh, I get a headache now. He don't even take pills because he knows that I can do it faster. And it's not about I can do it faster. It is his body can do it faster. So I just look at him. All right, so I start rubbing just certain points. I find out which is out. And all of a sudden, in a matter of a few minutes, he's like, that feels so much better. And because of his body is doing certain intolerances, then I have to go and, do the repulsion thing and compatibility thing. But I also rub certain source points. I never know how anybody's going to respond, because sometimes we will work on something and it'll be totally fine. But when there is a healing that's being taken place here, you can contact me, especially if you're feeling worse, okay? I can help you out to some degree. And if you want to pay for a session, then I can really help you out the best I can. But you got to remember that there may be a part of you, but Reiki does so much more. If you really understand how Reiki goes, because I'm a Reiki master, the point is that Reiki helps you get connected with all of your energies and understanding, okay, as far as your emotions and your mental, and helping the body bring everything back into balance. It brings it back into balance. And depending on who you're with and how they communicate with the frequencies of the Reiki, then you'll have some that are really seem like they're better than the others. It's not. It's just the file system. It's working with that energy. The reconnection is the same way. It works on frequencies. It works on a different plane, which the bandwidth, within that bandwidth is Reiki and all of these. They're all different little subsets of the same place. Now, as far as foods go, was it a specific food? Because I would have to have, if you were the one that just wrote down something on a piece of paper, what was it I had you write down? So as you read through here, I have like over 20 some odd energy healing techniques under my belt, and they all boil down to connecting with the same bandwidth, is what I found out. It all depends on how your knowledge of what you know and let it flow instead of restrictions it's an incredible thing. Now, the cosmos. What's going on with the cosmos? Let me explain something here. For the one that became very sick, and I'm still talking about, she has certain grievances, and they is catching up with her because the cosmos wants you to do something. And we're going to pull a card real quick. And yes, okay, so we're going to use the enchanted map. And right now, everybody is following the leader, which means, in respect, the collective consciousness on a cosmo level or the universal scale level, it is about letting go of paradigms. And so there's a specific emotions. In this case, there's a lot of grievances. I don't even have to read the card to understand that what they want you to do, or how you're following the collective consciousness. And the emotion that seems to be trapped is anger. If you have anger from the past, okay, I'm not angry today. I'm not saying right now. Your body has the program of anger. So if the anger is in there, in that program, it's going to kick in. If there's something you want to do, then you can have become angry, okay? You may not even be aware that you're silently brooding with anger, okay? When this begins to happen, the issues of the cosmos is asking you, can you heal this shit now? Your soul has asked you, but now we are trying to say, can you not follow along with this old paradigm? And there's a lot of times we don't understand that how to release that anger. Okay, because it's tied to a particular outcome. You want something to happen. Now, there's nothing wrong with anger, because sometimes you need to be able to stand up, have those boundaries, and fight. But if you are holding on to the chemical peptide of anger, then it can become justifiable anger, which, here's the thing, when you do self-justification, it actually starts to eat away at you in a way that now you're poisoning yourself. So it really needs to change. Okay. Liv, when we did the healing, without me remembering, yes, the people are coming through saying hi. When you're doing foods, do your best to tap it out. Do the breathing, the 4 breaths, and don't touch that food for at least 24 to 48 hours. Most generally, you have an emotion that's causing a dislodge that causes the intolerance to happen. It causes the disturbances. If you are having certain dairy issues, then you have to have understanding if it's past or present. But they're saying that the structural line from the genetics is that it's reproach. So the thing is did we take it out of the eyes? Did we take it out of your body? Because if you're still afraid of approaching people, and the universe has connected by bringing someone to you, and you may not even be aware that you can't approach people. Awareness of who you are. When you put down your phones and put down your TV and you go out outside, looking out the window, doing absolutely nothing, and letting your mind wander, get bored, do something, what happens is the body then begins to show you how to be aware. It's really calling for your attention. And when I ask Liv, what attention is it that your body wants you to understand, is that you are holding on to particular outcomes. So if an engram, which is everything equals everything, if you're holding on to, I've got to have it a certain way, I expect it a certain way, I want something a certain way, or somebody's expecting that of you, then it will be tied to certain things, such as dairy. And that needs to be addressed. And it's really look at how. So in my past relationships, I knew that I was going to have, because I participated, communicated, talked, whatever. And if it screwed up for a person, then I was going to wait for them to explode, because I knew that there's certain words they're going to say that was going to dig, certain physical things that they're going to do that was going to hurt. And it was how I was attached, and it turned into an intensity in the body. And I had to literally use my healing tools, and hope therapy is the best, to stop seeing it, hearing it, feeling it. All of the sensory systems are so hooked into that. And you can stare it down, and you can look at it and you're like, oh my God, it's there, it's there, it's there. And then you have to stay in that healing position until it dissolves. And then the universe will test you again, and all of a sudden you realize you're not as touchy, you don't take it personally, you're not as going into spontaneous issues. Okay, you go back to healing, and the next thing you know, when they go off, you won't even realize that they've gone off. You won't even be prepared that they're going to go off. You won't even go, oh my God, even just as you open your mouth and you see the pattern just as it begins. You actually disrupted that strategy. Okay? Now, what's important? Yes, all this is important regarding tea. Yes, it is. And it is learning to let go of those grievances and anger, because it's coming to a head, and the universe wants her to really look at it and say, you're done. And those people that she can't help look at, stop looking at or feel, it's like a weight on her. It hits her gut, because the 10th chakra is not balancing very well in the 2nd chakra. You don't need to know about chakras as much as understand it's letting go of. Okay, and there's a particular outcome that she's mad that it's not turning out the way that she thinks it's supposed to be. The universe has a different answer for that, a different story. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully it does. And let go of that fear. I would definitely say you may want to make an appointment with me, but there are things you can do. getting back to when the source point healing, okay, you can put on there what is source points. Now, I really wish I could post that up, but I'll put it on my fan page so you can see a picture of the source points and rubbing them. It all depends on where you're at, because it's all personal. If you don't know how to muscle test, I was thinking about teaching an online class so that you can get it. But I also know that you really need to have that physical experience to feel the difference and to witness the difference. But when it comes to, like, for instance, everybody's a little different. Olivia, you've been there for me. I'm just going to point out, with the belly area, okay, it is how you interact with the environment, okay, that is about how you always constantly are made to feel. And this was first when you were 2, but when you also first recognized inadequate. Go look that word up, find the definition, go tap out. Even though I feel inadequate, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Do at least 5 to 7 rounds. You'll be amazed at how far you'll stop feeling this inadequacy. Okay? And how that inadequacy is affecting which organ the most. It affects the stomach and then goes into the liver and then to the large intestine. You may have to check your valves. I will give you this little heads up for all of you that have issues in the abdomen, this area here. I really hate this shirt. Anyway, you can't see. Back up. Still can't see. Anyways, I got hips. Okay, here's my hips. And then it drops down to where my legs are. And then it goes right where the top of my underwear is. Okay? Right where my hands drop, these are called, you have the ileoceca on the Houston valve. Can't remember which side's which. But if you push in and flick, okay? And flick. And then what happens is if you just start to rub up and around, and then go backwards, okay? Now, you're going to keep flicking. Now, on the sides of your legs, where your hem of your seam of your pants are, you start at the top, and then it all depends on which way you go. But balance that energy. Go all down as if you have an imaginary seam on your thigh. Do both sides. Come back up, and then just rub it. Okay, you're going to balance, believe it or not, the lymphatic system, and this is the large intestine. On the inside of the small intestine is that you can do the inside of the leg the same way, but if you find the rib cage, and if you were to feel the top of it and then you slide down into it, okay, those babies might be sore. That is your small intestine, okay? Moving the lymphatics, moving the lymphatic versus the bloodline does wonders. When we're doing this, we're doing vasculars. It's the blood. When we're rubbing points in the body, then it is usually lymphatic. When we are tracing and going forward and backwards, we are moving energy. When you are electromagnetic, if the electric's off, you balance those. If the magnetic's off, you use a magnetic. So there's different things. Now, source points are amazing. When yours flares up, Olivia, regardless of what it is that's going on, and they say it's pretty consistent, the source point I would first have you do is spleen. Okay. This is going to be challenging. All right, good thing I've been stretching today. Oh, you're going to laugh. Yes, I wear my watch on my ankle so that, because my hands are always busy. But anyway, take your foot and you notice, yes, my dirty little feet. Can't show the top of my foot, but here's my toenail. And if you go where the bump is right here, go down underneath that bump. Right there is the source point. Okay? And rub both those spots, 3 and 4. 3 and 4. When you rub both of those points, okay, just rub. Just rub. Because induce both sides of the feet. This is your spleen. You, from what it sounds like, is that if you do both of those and then go up here and rub those, that's going to take care of your spleen because it's going into very protective mode, especially when you feel inadequate. The other point, they say that one's really has to do with the fact that you feel like you're gearing up to feeling attacked. And even if it doesn't happen, you will get attacked in the gut. That's what relationships look like. The other is gallbladder, and that is about injustice. They're starting to tell a story. I don't know if I can do this one because it's on the other side of the foot. The gallbladder point. Hopefully I don't script the camera too much. Woo! Let's try this. No, you still can't see it. No, you can't see it. You may see something you shouldn't see. But this is a skirt, so I got shorts underneath it. Still don't matter. Let's try it again. You all having a good laugh out there? I know. I hope to God that's not a shot they put on things. Let's try this again. There. Okay. There's a point right there. It is this point, the hollow point. See it? It is next to this bone and the ankle bone. There's a hollow point. It's easy to find once you find it and you drop down. That's your gallbladder point. Gallbladder is huge, and it massively affects the brain, affects the whole system, down the spine, down the legs, down the feet. Rub those points, okay? Just rub those points on both sides because your gallbladder is very important for the bio. But your gallbladder, yeah, I'm laughing too. Let's go here. Okay, so did you find it? He says rounds of what? You're going to rub those points and do at least 20 times. Get in there a good rub. Okay? Now, getting back to this point here, the following the leader. The energy of the planet is saying it's done following a particular paradigm. We're getting to be done with just being stuck with emotions. And when you have certain emotions that will flare up, in your case it's called flare up, your inadequacy will flare up. When it comes to grievances and can't letting go of the picture of the injustice or any of that stuff, it'll flare up. And if it has come from food, understand certain foods are going to start being associated with you when it comes to with tea, because she's got to stop deciding to live that way. Now, I was watching a TV show that said, okay, this young boy, he's cocky, but he's also very emotional. And the older man pulled him aside and says, look, he says, understand that if there's certain behaviors that you don't like about yourself, or you just can't live that way anymore, you've got to make the choice to let it go. Because when you begin to change that part of yourself, you're going to be a happier person. And it is so true. It's not about looking at flaws, because that's what the young boy was doing. He was looking and says, I have a flaw. And the older man says, no, you don't. It's just you're choosing to live that way. And it's time to decide if you want to change and be something more. And so that's your ask, something more. Now, what's important to understand is that it's not just about inadequacy, but this is a buildup. You need to work on those layers. Emotions are dense. They're stored in the body. They need to be released. Emotions will dislodge your spirit. It'll dislodge the consciousness. Emotions and experiences will dislodge the way that I can't tolerate certain things anymore. You keep going on and on and on. Okay, now, when it comes to, okay, now hold on, I got some, I'm going to pull, Jesus. No, I'm touching things they're saying no, so I'll wait a second. Now, no, I did not put a lot of makeup on. I didn't have time. Clairvoyance. So, I'm not sure who's here. There's somebody in the, it's so hard to tell who stays on, who's not on. I wish there were a way I could see that. God, they dropped me good. Listening to bad experiences, listening and dwelling in it because it makes you feel good. Understand you need to stop programming yourself for that, because all your soul is trying to tell you is that, yes, you may recognize the sadness and the grief and the impending doom, and that's what makes you feel safe, but yet it doesn't, because it creates a world where all of a sudden your car is supposed to have a flat tire, or your car gets hit, or it's usually interacting with, same shit, different day. And there's some loved one on the other says, I'm here helping you. And that's what I think called the action today, was I was supposed to communicate to you today that you when you ask questions, it's not just about the life, it's about the physical, it's about, all of these, people are saying they're here. I'm just trying to see if, I hope they didn't jump off, but I think they might have, but maybe they'll rewatch it later. But at the same time, this message is for all of you. If I had only known then what I know now, I would have lived differently, is what their biggest thing is on a collective stance on the other side. This is the deck, says Talking to Heaven. Of course, it's by James Van Praagh. I love him. Doreen Virtue, she's in a different state. I don't agree with all her information she says that day. These people watch over you every day, because that's the card that came up again. That they are saying to you, they can see your habits, they can see your programs. Understand these words. Program is a totally different than habit. All right. If you're enjoying and believe in your habits, then it'll keep the program still okay, I did switch from everything, Olivia, but it's important because the universe, the spirits have come through and just are trying to tell all of you that they're there. They get to communicate clearer. Maybe not to you, but they get to, something must have shifted so that, because their frequency is they can always come down here. If they've gone through whatever school they're supposed to, their frequency is they can see you, but you can't see them. But they somehow are feeling like they're closer, and they can get closer to you, and they can communicate. Okay? And when you understand this communication, and if you're coming on here, chances are they're excited, because this is how they are finally going to get you to hear them or see them in that fashion. They can see things, and they want you to, you may have heard the old, I want you to make better choices. Well, it's not an old cliche to some degree, because everything ends up with a choice. If you're choosing to hang on to something and not let it go, if you're choosing, and you consciously, you may not be choosing to hold on to it, your body's holding on to it. If that's the case, understand that it's in neuro-linguistic programming, in another healing tool, it is going back and looking at how you chose. Because Dr. Dispenza says that if you choose, you first have to accept it, Okay, believe it, and then you surrender to it, and then you can then go into the victim side of it. If you've shared, which I haven't paid attention, Lenny, if you have names in the bucket, then yeah, we can go ahead and choose a name. Like I said, they told me not to come on tonight because they want this all to be spontaneous, because I guess in the next few months it's going to be so radically, people are going to start learning to make decisions differently. And that's going to be one of the major things that's going to come onto this planet. And it could disturb how you're holding all that dense energy in your physical body. And it can be something that you have to understand, that there might be increased panic attacks. I'm not sure, but so hold on here. I'm trying to get this pad working because I know Lenny's trying to talk to me. Okay. Now all of a sudden they're very quiet. Everything's very quiet. You have to make this choice to decide if you want to stay sick or get better. There are some people that have such incredible illnesses, and I've been looking at them and studying these incredible illnesses. And if you listen to Dispenza, Dr. Dispenza, he talks about how the brain can spontaneously heal something that you've had for years. I want to start learning how to do certain things so that I can take you to that healing instantly, but your brain has to accept it. Okay, and if your brain can't accept it, that is something that needs to heal. Because the reason why sometimes you can't accept it is because you have arrested development. You couldn't develop past that particular emotion. And certain emotions are supposed to be felt until all of a sudden you realize, I don't need to feel that anymore. Or you could be drowned in that particular feeling and you don't know how to get yourself out. Well, this is how we help you. If a Marci Simmons is here, please say yes. And if you want a cold reading, or if you want me to talk about a physical illness, find out why it's there. It's not just one layer. It can be many. But emotions that you've been, that swallow you up can really affect the physical body. Okay, Marci. Okay, so let me just see if I can see that. Olivia says, got a panic attack on the way to the job interview, but I managed to redirect my attention, didn't run away, and went through with the interview. Good. That means you had a little bit more control. So you didn't run to the end of the timeline, did the worst case, and did all that. You were able to use your tools that you do. And again, the more layers that we hit, the more that the panic attacks will start to disappear. Okay? And that's important. Now, if there's a Marci Simmons. Oh, thank you, Amy. I really appreciate that. So whether she gets on right away or if she comes on afterwards, I'll still honor. And oh, yay, Marci's here. Okay, gotcha. Now, Marci, would you like a cold read? Would you like to talk about your physical body? Would you like to talk about why you have this particular emotion? Do you want to talk about, certain behaviors, something that you don't like about yourself that you want changed? What would you like? You can, this is your way of allowing yourself to decide, if I want to change my world, what part of my world do I need to change? And I can help you understand how you're hooked into it and what tools to use to help you break that so that you can change the way you see things. And when you get enough strength after you heal these debilitating feelings, that energy goes back in your body so you can become stronger. Now, a lot of times people will just not be able to do that, but they'll force themselves to change, force themselves to do something, but because they can't feel love, receive love or feel, or their body, my throat's starting to change, then what happens is that you will then start to eat, or your body will not be able to metabolize properly, or it'll store certain things you eat just because it says that gives me love, and I'm not about to lose this love, even though I may have lost everything else. And a lot of us that have left our husbands in the past, okay, what happens is that we haven't got over the fact is that we had this future planned, and we haven't cried over that future yet. So Marci says, I hate my dad for the abuse I suffered from him and my mother. That has to do with, yes, that has to do with that. It's taking away the voice, but you know what? I need my voice. There we go. I need my voice back in order to do this. Yes, physical abuse. Now, understand that it was the generation of time. It is a culture of living in particular places that said abuse was what was allowed. We have grown out of that a lot. Still a lot of kids that get abused. Still a lot of people that have not let go of that old paradigm. And more of us will begin to awaken. Now, you says, I hate my dad. Now, you got to understand, do you want to heal the hate? Do you want to understand why your soul set you up, your soul contract set you up to have these parents? And then we would heal that. What would you like me to communicate with? Or did you want to communicate with him since he's passed? It's up to you how kind of direction. Because I feel like you've repressed a lot of that hate. And a lot of that hate has been stored into the spleen, and life has shown you that you're a failure. You may be successful in certain areas, but you have a particular thing. Or, okay, why I have the parents. Now your soul chose, and this is what we're going to have to understand. Our soul chose this because it needed to learn certain things. So why did the dad raise his hand? The soul of that dad raise his hand to come in to help? So you don't have compulsion disorder, OCD or any of that? Or you have the compulsion to do certain things? All the time. What's that mean? I mean, it went so quick. All right, bye, Olivia. It went so quick. Part of me wonders, was it too feeling like you have a compulsion? Because if it was the word compulsion, then you say yes or no, and I'll look. But anyways, the mom came in to, okay, so you were supposed to look at, oh yes, hiding the feelings. And yes, OCD. Okay, so you were supposed to be triggered into hiding them and to go into the OCD. Now, your mother, well, her soul raised her hand so that she could teach you about loftiness, about how you're supposed to handle yourself in life. Does that make sense? These are very specific emotions, because what we'll do is that we'll either be that because we're following it, or we're saying, no, I am not going to be lofty. I'm not going to be abusive. And we're supposed to break those trends, because in this day and age, it should stop, right? There's a whistler in here. But it's not, because it's up to us to break the genetic things that our parents before us hadn't. So if we look back, why compulsion? So if we go back, it is through the mother line, and it is about completely overwhelmed. So you are supposed to help yourself in this life to break the genetic thing about how overwhelm controls you. It's like saying, I stop abuse. You're going to say, I stop. I stop being overwhelmed. Well, if you're coming here, then you can learn to stop being overwhelmed. You can learn how to use new tools to help break that particular habit. Okay. Okay. When you said no, is it no to that you don't do loftiness, or you haven't seen it, or? Okay, so I have never abused, but have been abused by male figures, except the man I married. Yay! Good, she found one. But the thing is that you stop that line. Now, the emotion that is still carries that within you, as far as that goes, is the helplessness of your 3-year-old self. And the 3-year-old said that it needed to do repetitive things so that the abuse won't happen again. And so you're doing the OCD to stop the panic attack. So did you ever have panic attack? Does that make any sense? Still do. Okay, so the thing is that you're asked, your soul agreed to, I have to stop having that, carry on this, because I don't want it to my kids, or I don't want it to be in the world. When you heal, you healed me, you healed everybody in the audience, you heal the feminine, and you healed anybody and everybody, because it's all collective, it's all connected. Okay. Something is stored very deep. What is that deep? Is it the physical abuse? What's stored really deep? Why weren't they there for you? You expected them to be there for you. And this is something I keep hearing over and over, that you're like, yeah. Why didn't my mother stop it? Why didn't somebody come in and stop it? Okay, I keep hearing this repetitive question over and over and over. Okay. Okay. All right. So, I hope you don't mind. You shared it there, but if it's okay to say this line, it's, then I'll say that out loud. Otherwise, just let people review this. Now, let me look at the twins. The feeling attacked. Really, feeling attacked. Okay, so there's something very specific I have to look at. And I'm going to look at it with a deck of cards, and if that makes any sense. Because, okay, so Marci said that she had twins by her father. And there's a sick... it's the way the feminine energy has been controlled and distorted. And like, we had witches, we had wise women, we had women that were bringing the information through before doctors could try to come in, and before all of government and religion and all this. There were those, the feminine aspect that really brought that information through. And when that energy came through, and I can't remember when it was, but it was the yang force was stronger. But it also, we can't blame the yang energy, but it's the way that it came in. But it was like a Luciferian energy. It is that part of where we're supposed to descend so far down to have that negative experience that has hurt, maimed, raped. How do you shut up a woman? How do you, it is to do that. And it is to hurt, and it is to control. And there is, your body is saying that we still know that paradigm. And you're saying, you in this lifetime is waking up enough, saying, you know what, we're going to start pulling it out of the context. We're done. We don't want to keep doing this. Now, the deck I'm using for all of you is called Shapeshifters by Lucy Cavendish, number 40. Amphoterite? I don't know. Anyways, we're going to find out what the message is. Of course, I can't see. All right. Now, the interesting thing, the divination is today you must take time for your soul to wash clean with joy, laughter, and play. Dolphin energy be around you so you cannot find yourself at the ocean. Give yourself the pleasure of friendship, laughter, sparkling water, refreshing shower. Okay, here's the thing. This is a sea queen's blessing of the dolphins. You're being blessed right now that, ride the waves, let the tides guide you for a time. And it is learning to ride the emotions to some degree instead of them controlling you, damaging you, collapsing on you. And emotions are the emotion. I feel the emotion. It's killing my back. It's I don't know if you had a whip on your back or not. And it's making my adrenals kick in. Do you have hysterical moments? I know I didn't set the timer, but that's okay. This is not what you're conventional. And if Lenny, if you have to leave, that's okay. Don't worry. Okay, so the helplessness, we want to work on the helplessness to get that out. The helplessness impairs you from developing into the next stage of who you're supposed to be. The pictures of this continuously happening are very poignant points that need to be pulled out of the eyes and out of the body, but they can't be done right now. Is the panic is over and over. So the OCD is your safety blanket. Okay, we don't remove safety blankets. We go behind and we ask, what does the soul allow us to take care of? And something about you have to live through others. So you missed out on your childhood or something. And if that's the case, some part of you needs to become a child again. And in this case, as I look at your 3-year-old, she's looking away in shame. And she looks up and she sees herself in the mirror, but she doesn't want to look at it because she's not allowed to feel her own emotions. And if she were to look at herself, then it will scare her, and it creates a great panic. I hope this makes sense to you. So we would then have to help you heal that little girl, because the invasion that she feels, the stripping of her safety, is where they'd want you to go first. It's how you know that particular invasion. They keep repeating that same invasion. And so the little girl, and so I'm just sending her energy right now to give her strength to be able to communicate with you, because she can't even look at you. And it's not that, it's you looking at you, but you repress this particular part. She's afraid if she does look at it, it's going to induce fear. Okay. Okay, so Marci says, my husband tells me all the time that I'm pretty, but I just don't see it. And then it's because, see, that's the line that was used to trick the little girl. And if she looks at herself, then she's going to be tricked again, if that makes sense. And because of that, she doesn't want to be seen. She doesn't even want to look at herself. So we'd have to help that little girl to take care of the invasion, to take care of that. And I'm just going to ask the body, is there a certain thing invading something else? The expanded importance of self is invading in the triple warmer, which then makes you worthless. So every time you start to feel good about yourself, the triple warmer kicks off, and there's a party that goes into fight or flight, and then you have to correct, and you have to be compelled and to be correct, and so that it's like when something doesn't stop moving, you have to grab it and like, no. Okay, does that make sense to you? Okay, all of these little things, and there's layers and layers of protection, the layers and layers of pain, and we have to go in and help the specific layer so that all the rest of it will start to recalibrate, so you don't get lost in a particular pain and suffering. Does that make sense? All I can tell you at this point, this is so deep, you would have to have my guidance to help you move and shift it, and so that you can have a path switch. With this, I can tell you that the basic one that you need to use over and over, you won't understand the importance of it because you may not see it, but EFT, emotional freedom technique, you're doing several rounds of, even though I was invaded, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And because the invasion is in the eye, it's in the ears, it's in the sensory system, but it's also throughout all of the energy frequencies, and you have a couple frozen meridians, which means the energy is not flowing through properly, which can cause a lot of disruption in the body. It creates a lot of confusion, and there's healing tools to help you, like Wayne Cook posture, but there's a party that the confusion is linked to feeling attacked. And so even though you may not be looking, there's a part of you that thinks that you're going to be attacked at any moment. Okay. All right, so use EFT or contact me. And when you do contact me, understand that the button should take you straight there. I have 2 PayPal accounts, but since I moved to South Australia, I don't access the other one. And if you do understand that it should be under bpower.mw@dr.com if you want to go to the PayPal, because it's but the button should work. If you're on the old site, and which is still up, I'm going to take that down and change the PayPal account just in case. So it's a good thing that Spirit helped me see this with a client. So I really appreciate that. I'm sorry that we have to go through all this, but it's all about taking a little fine tuning. The next person on the list is Roxanne Malloy. If you're still here, I remember seeing your name, but I'm not sure if you're still here. Roxanne Nix Malloy. I remember from US. Roxanne. Like I said, I don't know if she's here or not, but anyway. Wow, there's some frequency disturbances in her body, but hopefully she'll come on. If you're here, say yes, let us know. She might have jumped off. No, okay, we'll give you another minute. Anyway, Marci, I hope that, keep listening over and over, because there are tidbits. Pick out the emotions. Notice specific things. Emotional freedom technique, you can find that on my website. Lenny's posted it several times. Go to the website and it'll show you some videos, and it'll take you to the YouTube so that you can look at the rest of them. And if you have problems with that, then just say, hey, I can't find it. And then I'll say, here it is. So don't feel alone. Don't be putting up with the different certain things. Let's work together. Okay. And it's suffering is not something you should have to do. All right, Roxanne. I have a feeling she's not here. So if you are Roxanne, let me know. When it comes to healing, you can study this on your own, or you can contact me and we can learn how to study it. But the source points, you look under meridian source points, like gallbladder source point, and you'll see a chart. And like I said, I'm going to take myself and give myself a note right now that says to put the source point chart on the fan page. Okay. And okay, so Lenny, if you want to pick out another name, you can. You know, some people jump off, but healing is something that I don't know how to express enough. I know that Olivia, she's not here now, but you know, her car got swiped. There's a reason for that. You know, all of it is a reason. Christy Vale, are you here? Hello, Christy. I believe it starts with a K-H-R-I-S. So if Christy is here, that would be great. The numbers are dropping, so people might have jumped off. I hope not. If Christy, if you're here, you are getting a free reading. So please, Christy, if you're here. She was here just a few minutes ago. Isn't that funny? Okay. Chakras. Okay. The one thing about a chakra is that it's important is that it can, there's so many different things that it can happen to a chakra. The spin of the chakra can tell you in great depth of what's going on. And while we're waiting, understanding when incoming information comes in from the primal source, from source itself, and then it communicates with that innate wisdom that runs your body and knows how to heal it way better than we ever could. It goes through the chakras, and those are the levels of consciousness, okay? And it depends on what level of consciousness that you're in that will make a big difference. When those level of consciousness, and if you're stuck in any of those, now what does that mean? I consciously doesn't want to let go of anger because they really piss me off. Okay, you'll be stuck in a certain level. Like if it's in the throat, you won't be able to speak what you want to say, but you'll silently brood over here. But it can affect the whole body. The bottom 3 meridians communicate with the top 4, but the heart is, if you're not connected to your heart, you can't feel love, you can't hear spirit, you can't let the innate really do its job, because then the brain is going to be off balance and communicate differently. All right, so there's no Christy Vale. We'll see what happens. We'll get another name. Now, as the information comes from the chakras, from the primal source, innate wisdom to the chakras, then it has the outgoing secondary energies that goes to the meridians and communicates. Now that goes into the rest of the systems of the body. That's the nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is what really does the fight and flight. You know, it goes into sympathetic and parasympathetic, but the autonomic nervous system is what actually can help you heal and spontaneously heal. And that is very important, to do certain exercises to make sure that it communicates correctly, and we need to remove the emotions that dislodge any of that. Now, when you shared, your name goes into a box, and that's the only way that I do a certain reading, unless spirit spontaneously opens up my mouth. But anyways, it helps all the rest of the systems in the body, and this is what controls us when I'm looking at how each one of these communicates and the emotions that are within it. Okay, and Tabitha, hello dear, I hope you're feeling better. But you have to re-listen to the show later, because I did little points and talking about little things that I think would interest you very well. Lenny, it looks like you're typing, but I don't think you are. So if you can pick another name, because Roxy's not here, Christy Vale's not here, and so we're going to move on to the next person. Okay. But when it comes to understanding chakras, I want to do a chakra class, but something that's not been taught per se as much as to understand how you can use your chakras and how to move the energy in your chakras to help. I'm looking for a Linda Lilenta. Oh, please say that you're here. So, Linda. Now, see, Linda says up here, I have a question I have asked yesterday. May I ask it again, please? And then, yes. Okay, go ahead, dear. Let's, we got somebody. Yay. But yeah, type out, do what it is, and then we can go deeper on it. Okay, sure. And push the battery in. We'll go from there. And I accidentally hit 8 minutes, so you get 8 minutes. So as soon as I see the question, then I will go from there. She says I'm here. Okay, write your question, sweetheart. Unless you have changed your mind on that. Yes, I'm wearing pigtails, braided pigtails. Why? It was the mood that I was in. You may find that I'll be wearing hats. I feel I have something attached to me. Not very good feeling. Okay. With that, I will open up my other book. Okay, understand if there's any attachments of any form, then they basically only will be able to do that when you have an emotion that you're expressing. And we're going to ask you to light a candle, if that's possible. If not, we're asking for an etheric candle, and when we're done, it'll put itself out. But here's my little list. It is a specific past memory that's stored in the front of you. And it seems like it's, I feel like on my back area. It is disrupting the communication from the spirit to the physical. And because of that, less light is coming in. It's going to feel very dramatic. It's attached to an old wound that seemed to be resurfaced. Age 6. And it's attached to how the body is supposed to betray you. So I'm not sure exactly what happened at age 6. It's a past memory that's in front of you, so it has to keep repeating, and you got to keep walking through it. Did that always in front of you? Yes and no. It just became more active because it is linked to... It's linked to a body part. It's linked to your stomach in procrastination. How many? Okay. Earthbound? No. Intention? Simultaneous feeling of fear. You mean her now and her 6-year-old? Oh, that's interesting. And then when that simultaneously fear, so you must be going through something that was very similar to what happened at 6, if that makes any sense. In this particular, it's in front of you. So do you understand the memory of what happened at 6? If you have a particular memory, I'll find out if that's the one, and then I will walk you through it so that you can let it go. It's the out alignment with self and that disconnection of the spirit, which creates the less light for your body to have. Oh, yes, good. Let me just, now you tap into that. Oh, good God, it's strong. Yeah. So what you have to do is that if you don't have a magnet, you got a refrigerator magnet. If not, we can use your hand, and I'll just intensify what we need. And when you're ready, it's the simple process of literally watching yourself move past the memory. So as we're going to roll and move past the memory, you're going to imagine, and you can even get up and do it, and you can just literally imagine that you're moving past the memory, okay? And that is what I need you to focus on. And we're going to do it at the same time. I'm going to ask, what is there a particular emotion that is procrastination? Really? Okay, so procrastination. Okay, good. Ready? So we're going to imagine the memory and procrastination, and we're going to move past the memory of procrastination and move past the memory of this memory. Moving past this memory. It's right here. Moving past the memory. Releasing procrastination. Moving past the memory. Ooh. I don't want to swear. Whoa, fudge monkeys. Oh, fudge. Okay. Now I'm going to just say, we're going to make this, have this go. It's in, so just look at me real quick. You're going to cover up an eye, mine's the right, and we're going to look at that memory. 1, 2, 3, let it go. Notice when you look through this, you're looking at the memory, and what number is it? And then we're going to remove see, I can't snap with this, and I broke my fingers. We're going to switch. I'm looking at it. Switch. There's switch. Okay. Remove, transcend, let it go. Let it go. Now, before we let it go, look at that one. It's got a very distinct color from what I can see. It's intense. Remove, transcend, let it go, let it go, let it go. Refocus everything just through this eye. Keep looking at the memory. Keep looking at the memory. Keep looking at the memory. Remove, transcend, let it go. You tell me when you feel like that memory is not as strong. We want it gone, but you tell me when it feels. So when you look through either of the eyes at that memory, it should be, you don't feel, you just know it's a memory and it can go. And we can just make it go. You tell me what you got, if there's anything else there, okay? You tell me if there's anything else there. We're going to connect the spirit into the body. We're going to connect the spirit into the body. We're going to connect the spirit into the body 100%. We're going to connect the physical to the spirit. We're going to connect the physical to the spirit. And we're going to connect the physical to the spirit. Now we're just going to ask that it's going to ring. We're going to connect the realignment. We're going to put you back in to alignment. If you start to feel a little wobbly, put your hand on your hairline and then just touch or go like this. touches the pineal. Nothing there. Good. All right. I still feel a little lobbly. Lobbly? Whatever. Okay, so okay, yeah, it's gone. It's gone. She still have alignment. She feels wow. Okay. Wayne Cook. We need to get the brain to. Okay, so Wayne Cook, all of you, if you want to participate, put your arms out, cross at the wrist, turn them, bring it in, cross your ankles, and then as you breathe in, straighten up the spine. Wow. Okay, so it's not like me to go rehearse over things that I've done, but somebody is rehearsing something they've done and go, I shouldn't have done that. I just should have done differently. And they're literally thinking the pattern. It's like when I could care less. I don't want it all over the internet, but yeah, I normally wear shorts or pants, and this time I wore a skirt, and but it's rehearsing in my head. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, what if that was shown? Oh, what if it? Okay, so there's a lot of worry and fear. There. Now you can go deeper. We want the air in the belly. Okay, now you're going to uncross your ankles. I'll uncross your hands, but you're just going to switch over, and you're going to switch ankles. Somebody says, but I can't do that. Okay, that's fine. You can do this. Simple, right? I'm rocking because I can feel the spinal fluid in somebody that seems to be stuck. If you yawn, that's good because it's moving. Now you're just going to touch between your eyebrows, your third eye. Don't be doing this. Do this. No, they don't have to be like this. They can be like this. It doesn't matter. There's not a lot of strict rules. You're just bridging the gap between the left brain and the right brain. Oh, there she goes. There she is. She's like, oh. Now, do you feel wobbly? You feel like you're back in your body? Do you still see that thing that's there? Okay, not just the picture, but that feeling that you said, can I ask you that question? Because we're just going to bring the pillar of white light, bring it down, and we're going to make it a vacuum. And anything that's not plus better is just going to be cleansed and go up. She says, no. Yes, I'm back. Good. So do you feel like that helped you? Yes or no? It helped other people out there too, because I could feel that happening. All right. So just let me know how that goes. And I'm just emailing, what do you call it? Texting Lenny, who's been, told me she could give me an hour, and I kind of feel like I've overstepped it. Okay, she says, I really did. Good. That's what we want. Tabitha, I want you to release all of that worst case scenario stuff, and that you notice how we just did the eye thing. You need to remove that picture of those people. Well, Linda says it worked. Thank you so much. As if it was lifted. Whoops, it's supposed to be a love heart, not a. There we go. Thumbs up. You have to pay attention to how your brain wants to go into the worst case scenario. All right, so Lenny can leave. I've done other things throughout the day. So Lenny, thank you very much for all your wonderful time. Again, she's not getting paid. I'm not getting paid, so she's volunteered. So we want to say thank you for the volunteer. That is very wonderful. Understand you're going to be directly feeling all the shit you won't let go of, and it's going to start rising, and then this is the beliefs, and these are the pictures, and these are all of the little things that really need to go. And then because of that, it's very important that you learn how to understand how you pay attention to things, how you ignore things, how you know things. You can get in tune with that body. And the moment you start to feel awful, you can start saying, wait a minute, what is this about? Now, if it feels like you can't release an emotion, then you go ahead and start tapping, doing source point healing. Connect with me for some of the big things if you want, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to find a card so that I can just help you understand that your spirit needs to stay in the body so that you can begin to have this light, but your physical body also needs to communicate with the light as well. And that communication has to be a two-way street. And so that innate wisdom can really can help. You are all phoenix that are rising. You know what a phoenix is? They die and then come back to life again. And you got to understand that you are fabulous beings that are just quantum law of attraction has the phoenix, because you have to begin to get the knowledge to take yourself into a different form of really healing and releasing. You don't have to be sick. If the sickness is happening, a lot of times we abuse ourselves. We don't even realize we're doing it. And it's based out of the biggest one that I seen recently was somebody was very taken back at how somebody responded. It's that reproach. It's that, if you've been around abusive people, then you're going to have that part of you that goes into an automatic reaction. And when that happens, you can turn around and an old program when you're little you're abusing yourself. You're bumping into things. You're cutting your fingers. You're constantly hurting yourself, and you don't even know you're doing it. Those are pretty deep, and they need to be removed from the core because they are so linked back to a particular time. All right, so just to understand your phoenix rising, and I was looking for the book. Oh, there it is, so that I can tell you. Before we go, and thank you for coming on, since I won't be on tonight. The Phoenix Rising says this is not a time to create, but a time to sweep away everything that has not worked in your life. The reason so many things are broken down and not going your way is because the old cycle of life is completed. And it's completing. It's now you need to have closure to it. And I will teach you that you need closure to a lot of things. So that energy then can be here with you to develop in whatever it is that you want to create. You may feel that you are walking through fires of life right now in order to be cleansed and purified for your rebirth. Soon you will not recognize yourself. You are reclaiming your spirit. If possible, try to isolate yourself from the chaos surrounding you. I say heal it. Don't waste it. You may have to pull back a little bit if it's dramatic, but why would you need a bitch slap? There's something you're not seeing. I'm pretty good at helping people see that. Now is the time for you to feel any pain that you have previously suppressed so that it can be healed. Yeah, agreed. The universe has plans and opportunities that are better than you can imagine. So let go and trust and anticipate what is coming. Live in expectancy, not expectation. That creates a square, a block, can't see. Expectancy. You know something's going to occur. It doesn't have to be hell. You're creating your heaven. And you can say no to this hell. I'm going in this direction. And you can learn from it instead of waste it. You can learn from your experience. So, and you can heal so that you can have closure and resolve to evolve. Again, a lot of healing that you can do. And yes, rise from the ashes. And that's what we're here to do, is to be done with all that. Again, go to my website. So I'm going to post up as soon as I get off here, and post up the source points and that you can rub. Okay. And thank you all for coming. I love you. And please, 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 please stay blessed.